What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now. I'm Alex, and in this video, I want to go over 50 upcoming games that I am looking forward to in one way or another. I didn't actually think it would be this many, and in fact, I actually have an honorable mention, multiple honorable mentions that take me, I believe, to 56. Now, this doesn't really account for the unknown. The honorable mentions will try to do that, but beyond these 50, there could be 10, 15 more, games that we just don't know about, period. Like Assassin's Creed Black Flag is on here, Prince of Persia is on here, but anything that comes out of completely left field. If we get a new Uncharted game this year, that would probably be on this list, I think. Kingdom Hearts 4, there's some games that absolutely would be here, but because of just how it's looking and the feel of when these games are coming out, this is the best I could do. Okay, I'll try to keep this like under a certain length of time long, but let's first just rapid fire the honorable mentions, which either range from things we don't fully know to maybe they'll never come out. So actually, let's start with that one. The Wolf Among Us 2. Anytime I make a video like this, I'll always bring it up. Look, if we got a confirmation that this game was coming out for sure in 2026, it'd be in the 50, okay? So it's got to be there because hopefully it does come out. I wrote a new 3D Mario game. I still have belief that this could still happen this year. I mean, like Pokemon is kind of the 10th generation one. That's kind of like the fall game when you think of Nintendo, and Fire Emblem, of course, is coming out, and actually both of those we'll mention in a second. But I still think there's room to do a 3D Mario game in the first full year of the Switch 2 being out. So if that were to happen, that would be pretty high. Of course, I'd be pulling for Galaxy 3, but I'll take anything. I'll take Odyssey 2. Odyssey is a phenomenal game. Number 3 honorable mention is that Pokemon game. I feel like I just said, I think the odds are pretty high with this one. Like Game Freak's entire thing got leaked, right? Like we kind of know what's going on. I guess there's no guarantee it comes out in the fall. The fall's a long way away, right? Anything can kind of happen. But a mainline 10th generation. From the leaks, it sounded pretty cool. Of course, I don't want to go too far into that for Nintendo's lawyers, but sounds pretty sweet. So that's on my list. The Witcher 3's unannounced DLC. I'm very much believing this is real. I'd like to put this in the 50, but I guess you don't know until you know. But this one, if it's actually coming out, this would be this. My list is not ranked, but I'm just going to go 50 just from top to bottom. This would be like a top 10, right? Going back into The Witcher 3 in 2026 kind of sounds weird to even say it, but of course I think would be incredible. Half-Life 3 is my 5th honorable mention. What can you really say? This is one that definitely does not have the highest likelihood, but yet again, we've heard so much about it that it seemingly is real that, hey, if you put this out as a Steam Machine launch game, you're going to have me lining up there along with everybody else. And I also wrote, all those are kind of big ones. You've probably heard of them. I wrote Deca Police. If you guys know Deca Police from Level 5, I love them. Ni no Kuni, come on. But this game has been missing in action for years and years and years, and at some point, it's gotta come out. I think is there a TV show or movie happening? It's one of those properties that doesn't even get off the ground yet, and yet all of a sudden Hollywood is on it and they want to do something with it. I swear to God, if we get a Hollywood thing versus a game first, I would just lose my mind. So those are my 6. You can throw in Judas is not on my list because I kind of think it's going to be early 2027. So there's definitely more, but there's 6, and then we're about to go through 50. So can we get to 60 throughout the year? I think we will. I'm just going to kind of rifle through them, say some words, kind of like an obituary, and even though the games haven't come out yet, and we'll go from there. Okay, so Resonance, A Plague Tale Legacy. Honestly, this would be very high, shockingly high if I were to rank these top 10. I'm a diehard Plague Tale fan, if you guys know that from watching the channel. Requiem was my game of the year back in, I believe, 2022. I have such fond memories playing that game. Innocence is very, very good. So I don't expect this to be to that level. Look, if this was a Plague Tale 3, right? If we were doing Amicia one more time, which may or may not happen, but if we ever do a Plague Tale 3, that would probably be my most anticipated game of the year. Over a GTA, over a Wolverine, it would be number 1. But this is more of a spin-off, prequel-ish type thing that we're doing, which is still fine. Like, more Plague Tale to me is good Plague Tale, but it's not, I think, as big of a slam dunk that it works compared to the other two. All right, number 2, Scott Pilgrim EX. I've talked this game up quite a bit. Nobody really seems to care, but that's okay. Look, the Scott Pilgrim Ubisoft game back in 2013 or so got delisted, came back. I actually got that game physically for Christmas. Ooh, I love that. That's a rare find, and I love the fact that I have it. I'm firstly, love the property. Secondly, love brawler games. Thirdly, love the company that's working on it. Obviously, they just did Marvel Cosmic Invasion. TMNT, they did Shredder's Revenge. Like, they're very, very good. Scott Pilgrim EX looks insanely good, and even if it just kind of matches the Scott Pilgrim versus the World game, I'm in. I don't need it to set the world on fire or anything, but I need it to be at least in line with those games. Okay, number 3. This may or may not come out this year, but I get a good feeling about it, and I've kind of been a fan of this game for a while. Spine. If you guys know Spine, it's that gun fu type game, I believe they call it. I actually was able to do an interview with one of the heads of the team. They reached out to me. I thought it was a joke. I thought it was a cruel prank, but it was really, really cool to have that opportunity. And it's not because of that. In fact, I think they reached out to me because I, showed interest in the game. The game looks great. The game looks really good. Look, if it's a mix of like Sifu and Batman and Spider-Man and that kind of stuff, like, I'm totally in. Just maybe obviously maybe relying a little bit more on weapons than some of those other games I mentioned did. But the game does look awesome. It's just, it's a small team. It was supposed to come out in 2025. It's delayed till 2026. They seemingly make progress every week, every month. I really hope it comes out. And I think if it does, this is kind of an under the radar one that you're not many people I think are bringing up Spine, but I think, and maybe in the same way, I don't know if it would be better or the same level as Sifu. That game was freaking legendary, but if it got close to Sifu, I would call that a major success. Okay, number 4, Star Wars Galactic Racer, a late addition to this list, right? This game was just announced at the Game Awards. This is probably the first one. I don't have too much to say. It's probably, I think when I ranked the Star Wars games that are in development, I might have put this last or second to last. I think it's going to be a rock solid game. Very few weaknesses, excels at what it's going to excel at. I can only get excited for a racing game, even though it's it's got the Star Wars paint on it, right? So it's a little bit different, and it's obviously going to have different vehicles and different kind of mechanics. I can only get into it so much. That's really, it's a cop out, but it's just kind of me being honest. I think it's going to be a rock solid game. I probably am going to get it, day one, but my expectations can only reach a certain level for something like that. Okay, I kind of did back-to-back Star Wars things here. Number 5, Star Wars Zero Company. This one is far, far above. And here's the thing. This game is not going to be for everybody. I've said that probably every time I've talked about this game. Zero Company is coming from like the XCOM type angle, so if you're not into the XCOM type stuff, you're not going to be into Zero Company. But I think the game, from the very little that we saw and just knowing the team and knowing kind of what they've done, I think the game is in great hands. I think we need more of, I spoke up for Midnight Suns when Midnight Suns came out. I think that game is an excellent game. It sold very badly. It kind of ruined, what they had going on there. But I like games. And not that, by the way, because this is more XCOM. Midnight Suns was kind of XCOM, but also used the card system and stuff. These are games that I think do work with select people, but they're not going to, this isn't Jedi 3. You know what I mean? This isn't KOTOR. But yet again, those games only work for certain people, right? KOTOR is an RPG. If you're not into RPGs, then you're not going to really be into that. So each of these games has its, like direct people it's going towards, and Zero Company is going towards me, I suppose. So that's my number 5. Number 6, Super Meat Boy 3D. Not too much to say about this. I actually did play, there was a demo that came out around December. I believe the demo was like 15 minutes. I played it on Steam. It was pretty good. Moving it into the 3D, kind of landscape. I love Super Meat Boy. I love it, love it, love it. I'm terrible at it. I don't think I've ever beaten it or even gotten close, but I know I've gone back to it multiple times in the past. I will probably go back to it before this game comes out. I'm not really expecting it to match or beat it. I feel like it's almost kind of catching lightning in a bottle twice. I don't even know if a game like this really would work, doing it like this. But from what I played, I thought it was definitely solid. It, they're easier levels. You're not getting frustrated. You're kind of understanding the jump, like the physics and the mechanics of it. We need to see the whole game. We need to see kind of how challenging it can become as the game goes, but I'm definitely interested in it for sure. Okay, Tomb Raider Legacy of Atlantis, the remake. Obviously, we're getting the remake of 1, and then we will be getting the brand new Tomb Raider game in 2027. Yeah, I mean, sign me up. Sign me up. This is a good test. It's a good test for them because we really don't know how it's going to be handled. We've seen what it looks like. How's it going to actually perform, with Unreal Engine, and just, can you do the first game, properly as a remake? I think the odds are pretty okay that this game works. I'm rooting for it. And I it's kind of like I don't have too much to say about it, and yet maybe like Galactic Racer, I don't have too much to say, but yet like I think I can sign myself up immediately day one for it. You know what I mean? Okay, next up is Trails in the Sky, the second chapter. So here's the deal. Not too much to say here. I have the first chapter. I have not played it. I have it physically. It's behind this green screen. I do plan on playing the first chapter. Clearly, I'm going to go in order of numbers. I will play the first game before the second game. It looks fantastic. The first game was so well received, not just from critics. Critics, I think, gave it like a 88, 89 on Metacritic and stuff. But Trails is a very much loved series. People love it. People love the remake. It kind of brought the company, into this new light. They're very happy with like the sales and all that stuff. So I'm really excited. We knew this was going to happen, I think, for a while. It was kind of just announced recently. But yeah, sign me up for it after I play the first game, of course. Okay, I'm cheating here a little bit because you could say, why didn't I do this one as an honorable mention? But I'm going to go the God of War Metroidvania game. This is just, I guess, a heavy belief. I kind of believe in this one as much as I believe in The Witcher, so I was trying to get this to 50. I won't lie to you. No, the God of War Metroidvania one, it's one that, again, as soon as you announce it, I'm in. I'm in now on the idea. That's it. Like, I love Metroidvanias. I love God of War. Put those two together. This is another one, much like, I guess, maybe Zero Company, where when you think about God of War and its size and impact, like, is everybody really going to be into doing a Metroidvania? No. In fact, it might very well upset people when it's announced, but I don't know. Like, I like the idea that we can do, like, main installment God of War games mixed with kind of, like, weird offshoots. I kind of think we need to do that more so we can have them more than once every 5 years. So even just that angle, like, giving me more of it, but not sacrificing the quality of what we have, giving me kind of like spin-offs, just different genres, like it's quite literally a different genre they're doing. So, we don't know too much about it. It was supposed to come out in 2025. Here we are in 26. Hopefully we get it. Okay, next up is Gears of War E-Day. This one's a little bit of risk, I feel, to be delayed. I think if any of those Xbox fall games I've mentioned before in other videos, Gears, Fable, Halo, right? Those are the three. Forza, but Forza's the spring. The other three are the fall. I feel like one might move, and even though Fable is getting that deep dive, which, trust me, I'm ready for, I feel like Fable's probably the most likely to slip. But yet again, it could be Gears. Gears of War E-Day might slip. If it comes out, I think it's going to be a top 5, top 10 game pretty easily of the entire year. Like, Gears 5 is not that great, but you're also comparing it to just pure greatness, right? I feel like if it comes out, it's going to be really good. I cannot wait. Cinematic trailer looks incredible. I mean, the visuals and the Coalition, obviously very, very talented, but also, hopefully kind of resetting, more grounded kind of story, harkening back to like Gears 1, 2, 3. Gears 2, I feel like, is my favorite. And I know 3 kind of had that emotional impact, but you give me a mix of any of those 3 games story, I think I'm going to be pretty happy. Okay, next up is Life is Strange Reunion. I've made a lot of videos on Life is Strange, and I will make a lot of videos on this, so I won't spend too much time. But, there's definitely some flaws here. There's definitely some worry that I have, but you give me a Life is Strange game, I'm in. You give me a Life is Strange game with Max Caulfield, I'm also in. There's definitely drawbacks to probably both of those things, but what can you say? You can call me whatever you want, but no, I'm always gonna root for a Life is Strange game to be good. I've always said, like, I don't like 2. I still to this day don't like 2. Double Exposure, I think, is pretty okay until the 5th episode. I really like True Colors. They've had a very up and down life. They've really never been consistent, ever, because you go from my favorite in Life is Strange 1 to the worst one, in my opinion, in Life is Strange 2. And that just shows the inconsistency, I feel, of the franchise. But I will always root for them. Always. So, Life is Strange Reunion, you got my money day one. Even if maybe you shouldn't, you still absolutely do. Okay, shameless little plug here to kind of break up the video. If you guys want to join our Discord server, we've revamped it from the ground up. It's so much better now. We are also going to start doing semi-often giveaways. So if you guys want to join, link's in the description. Link is in a pinned comment. Check out the announcement tab. That's where you'll find all the rules for the giveaway. Just meet new people. We got a lot of different kind of servers going on there, being able to talk about all the different stuff that I talk about on the channel. Okay, back into it. Hopefully my voice can hold, by the way, for the next 30 plus. Dragon Quest VII Reimagined. I'm not going to spend too much time here other than to say I'm very much intrigued. This is a buy no matter what. You know, when I make my why I'm getting videos, this is a why I'm getting video. But it's also, I don't think I would get it day one. You know, I've said this before with the Dragon Quest of the past, you know, like 1, 2, and 3, HD 2D remake. I've said it with Trails and stuff. If I'm not going to just dive in and give it its 100 hours it deserves right away, why in God's name would I get it day one, right? I can wait, maybe get on a sale or something. But this is my promise to you, much like I promised with Trails and the other Dragon Quest. I have all of them. I have Dragon Quest 1, 2, HD 2D. I have 3. I have Trails. I will get this game. I will get it probably later, and I'll get it at a point that it will actually probably be cheaper. But I've said for a long time, like, I know next to nothing about Dragon Quest. It's terrible. It's a gaming sin for me. I pride myself on knowing all these different games, and Dragon Quest has just never been one I jumped into, but I will fix that. Like, eventually I will play 1, 2, 3, 7, and I guess I'll have to go back for 4, 5, and 6. But I know I'm going to get it. It looks awesome. Looks so good. I like hearing kind of like the darkness. I don't know the story, but I know that, well, they're going to kind of lean in on like the darker elements of it. Like, totally in. Totally in. Okay, this is probably the first one that I might not get, but I'm still interested in it. Nioh 3. Like, I have Nioh 1. I've played Nioh 1, not through because I suck at those games, but I heavily respect that franchise, Nioh 1 and 2. I never really thought we would get a 3. I don't know if that was like is it just me, or was I not paying attention? Was the writing always on the walls for that? But I've always respected it. I've always liked it. I've just never been able to. It's kind of like FromSoft, where I tend to find myself giving them money for games I never play. You know, I have both Demon Souls, second Demon Souls from Blue Point, but I have like Demon Souls Remake. I've gotten the Dark Souls games in the past, and I just, most of the time, I do not play them. I bought Sekiro. I played it for like 2 hours. So just all these games always give me trouble. That's really the long and short of it. So I gotta get smarter a little bit when you make when you're interested in 50 games. And I'm not rich. I need to make a decision on some of them, and Nioh 3 is probably a cut. But no, I am very interested in it. It looks really, really good. I kind of have no doubt whatsoever on the quality. Like, I imagine it's a great, like, 8.5 or 9 out of 10 type game that many people are going to love. It's just, you know, does it really fit my style? But I'm interested in it. And honestly, right after that is kind of the reverse of it. Romeo is a Dead Man. This is one that I think actually will not be so good. Will probably have some pretty key features that are, like, not so great, but something that just, whatever reason, like, interests me. You know, I'm kind of drawn to games that are a little bit weird. And if you know Suda51, I don't really need to say anything more. But I mean, you kind of know what you're getting yourself into with these games. You know, they're all gonna play roughly the same. We have heard actually from previews from Romeo that it does function a little bit different. So I'm excited to see how it feels. The story, the wackiness, the style of it, the feel of these games are very special. They're not always good, and you could say, that should stop you right there from getting it, but they're kind of uniquely their own thing. And I've always respected that about that studio, about him, about the games. They're not always great. They're kind of like classic 7 out of 10 games, but they always, Lollipop Chainsaw, others, they draw me in for some reason. Okay, another iffy one is Yakuza Kiwami 3 and Dark Ties. So this is one that, I wanted, like, if you go back and you tell me that I'd be kind of conflicted, I think you're strange. You're telling me a lie, because I'm a Yakuza diehard. The last several years, I've played so many of these games and freaking love them. Yakuza 3 has always been my least favorite. I've always said it's the one that I think is the worst of all the Yakuza games. But it's not a bad game. It's just when you're putting it up against the great games, it's not so great to me. And they are making improvements. And I do think, they're also, though, changing a lot. Not just face models, but actors. That's quite controversial. And they also do add and subtract stuff to like story and gameplay mechanics. So like there's a chance that something people like about 3 is removed, and there's a chance that something is added that people don't like. So it definitely is more iffy. Like, I gotta be honest, it's on my radar for sure. I will be monitoring the situation, but I cannot say for sure that I would, actually get it day one. Okay, and this next one I feel kind of similarly. High on Life 2. High on Life 1 was like such a, when I say safe, I mean like it just kind of worked. It was, to me, it didn't really stand out in any mass. Like the comedy was obviously something that stood out to a lot of people. I think it was a rock solid game that just didn't really move the needle in my brain where I played it, I enjoyed it. But if I never play it again, I don't think I'd be mad. And if I never played 2, I don't think does that make sense? It's just one of those games that, like, functionally, it's a rock solid, great game. But it just, to me, it doesn't, like, pull me in any way. And really the same thing on High on Life 2. Like, it looks, honestly, kind of great. And there's really no reason to doubt that it will be a 7, 8 out of 10, like just a rock solid game. But there's something about it also that I look at it and I say, if I never play that, I'm not going to be super mad with myself. Does that make sense? There's honestly, that might be the only game that I feel that specific way where, like, there's nothing wrong with it. It looks fine, but there's just something about it that if I never do it, I won't really feel like I'm losing anything. Okay, this next one, actually, I feel the opposite. Reanimal. This one I would feel sad if I missed it. No, the game looks great. I played the demo. Demo is so freaking good. It's got that intensity, being tense. The storytelling kind of ways that they do it. The character ways that they do it. I think this is what people that wanted it from, like, Little Nightmares 3, obviously that whole drama and controversy. The game looks great, sounds great, feels great, all that jazz. I think this is going to be an early, like, I don't even know if it's under the radar because Little Nightmare games are pretty popular. This game is pretty popular already, but it might catch people off guard that aren't paying attention. It's probably going to be a really, really special one. Okay, back to one that you might not have heard about, Tides of Tomorrow. It's a game I've mentioned here and there in videos. This is that one that is like multiplayer focused, but it's got like single player like gameplay mechanics. It does actually look really good. And I remember, I think the trailer kind of went back and forth with focusing on the gameplay, single-player type gameplay things that looked really good. And then they kind of announced it's like a cooperative multiplayer thing, which kind of killed it for me because that wasn't what I was looking for in it. But I've said actually for a while, like, it looks pretty good. And I think if they're able to balance it and you're able to kind of, really nail those gameplay elements, and then it just so happens to be a multiplayer co-op type thing, I actually think this game might surprise people, like might be really, really good. Okay, you might have heard of this next one, Resident Evil Requiem. Not too much I'm going to say because I've made so many videos on it. I do get more and more excited by the day. It looks so good. Leon's return, the gameplay, everything. I mean, this is going to be one of the best games of the year. I feel I would be really shocked if this wasn't in my top 10 or even really top 5. Like, I think I could probably put the bar that high. If I go into my Game Awards this upcoming year that we're now in, and it's not in my top 10, I would be shocked. I just have a lot of confidence they're going to nail it, and there's not really anything else I can say about it. Okay, one that's a little bit more iffy is the Fatal Frame 2 remake. Now, I've never played Fatal Frame 2, the original. I know how terrifying it is. My wife, I believe, has played it, and she has warned me about how terrifying it is. I don't think I'm ready, but I'm going to do it. If you've watched my videos, I'm not a horror guy in terms of movies. I'm actually a pretty big baby, and I don't watch horror things beyond Scream. When it comes to games, I'm also a baby, but I'm more willing to try it for some reason. I can do the Resident Evil. I can do Amnesia and all these other, and those are some of the bigger, you've probably heard of those, but, I can Outlast. There's another big one. I can play those. I struggle in terms of, like, it takes me 10 hours to do something it might take somebody 2 hours to do because I'm so slow because I don't want to get caught or scared or anything. But long story short, The game I've heard such terrifying things about in a good way, and I don't think I'm ready for that, but I know how much of a classic the original is, and I think it's only $50. I don't even think it's like a full price game, so that draws me in as well. This is a game I'd be getting day one for sure. Okay, another day one game is Crimson Desert. I made a lot of videos on this, so I won't spend too much time on it, but the game, it's got such high potential. I think it's going to try to do like everything under the sun. It's either going to hit on some of them and be like a fine game. It'll hit on all of them and be a game of the year. It'll miss on all of them and be like a really, really bad game. You know, there's a lot of ways Crimson Desert can go, but to be honest, I'm there. Like I'm ready for whatever direction this game goes. And it's always been a day one. Like ever since I started paying attention to it, it's trying to do a lot of stuff, but it always looks chaotic and crazy. And I'm drawn to that, and hopefully it does end up working out. Mouse PI for Hire is next up. I thought this one would have come out in 2025. The game looks great. I love the art style, that drawn kind of animation, the coloring, and then, I mean, really, like, aesthetically, they got you. Actually, I would say this. Aesthetically, they either have you or don't. You know, you can tell in 30 seconds or less than 30. You can look at it. You look at a picture, you look at a trailer, and you know if that art style and how it looks is for you or not for you. The only other thing the game has to do now is round it out, right? With the gameplay, making it just a rock-solid game all the way through. Voice acting, Troy Baker, right? Voice acting, character, story, which I'm not, you know, if the game just is aesthetically pleasing, it looks great, it's putting you in that era, that feel that you just don't get from a lot of different games. And then it is like it feels good to shoot, and the combat, could it have take a back seat, with story and characters? Yes. But if it's a well-rounded game, I think this could be kind of a surprise hit, to be honest. All right, back to Capcom with Pragmata, a game that I've been rooting for since the beginning. The demo I thought was really, really good. I'm excited. I really feel, I think it's going to come down to story and characters. I think that you are going to have to believe in those two, and they're going to have to, have this father-daughter relationship that just works. I think the story is going to have to be interesting, but the combat was always maybe a hard sell. The demo was out on Steam, and it'll eventually be out on consoles. I played the demo. I love it. I came around to the gameplay just by watching it. I thought, you know what? I think I'm going to like that. I think there's enough to it. Playing it, yes. Like, I love the feel. I love just the strategy behind it, the mechanic. Just, it's a little bit different in what they're doing. I love it. I really, really love it. So to me, the only thing that has to, actually show itself is the story and characters. And if it can do that, it's another hit from Capcom. Okay, one that you might not think would have been on here, but Invincible Versus. So I've never watched Invincible. I don't know too much about it. Looks really cool. I've seen clips. So I technically have watched it. I've just never watched like a episode beginning to end. It looks really good. Really good. Now, I'm not a big fighting guy. I suck. Mortal Kombat, I'm okay. Street Fighter, horrific. Tekken, horrific. Yet again, much like I've said with these other games, I always find a way to give these people money. I always give these companies money for game. Now, in this case, it's games that I want to love. It's just that I can't get by. Can I really play a multiplayer game and lose 15 rounds straight and, tell myself, yeah, just keep going? I don't have that in me. And it's really Street Fighter. That's what happened with Street Fighter. I think it was beautiful. I think the controls, everything felt great. I think I won 1 out of 30 matches, and I just thought to myself, should I keep playing? Does losing do something very bad to your brain over and over and over? And I think the answer might be yes. So Invincible might be the same thing. I want to get it. I want to support it. I hope it's good. I don't know how in-depth the roster would be, but it looks really good from the looks of it. Can I, am I going to win? And I'm not expecting people to give me the win. I'm just saying, if I'm not going to, do even okay in the game, should I even get it? It's a me problem for sure. I confess that. Okay, Saros is next up, though, and oh my god, if there was ever a guarantee. I've said this so many times, but Returnal, love it. Nex Machina is my favorite Housemarque game. Resogun, Dead Nation, go down the list. They're so good. Saros does look to be, I think, maybe a little bit more safe. Returnal, I feel was putting all of what they learned into that format. And now I think Saros is kind of perfecting that format, / maybe making it easier. And I will say, I've always liked the difficulty. I like that Resogun's hard. I like Dead Nation's hard. I like Returnal is very hard. So I don't really want a game that's Returnal on easy mode. And it might be that. As long as it's not that, I think it's a Game of the Year contender. contender. It's not going to get that kind of support. These games don't sell very well. They don't even sell like 1 million plus copies. Like it's a more niche thing for Housemarque now being a part of PlayStation. I think it's going to be a great game, if not maybe a little safe, and you know what? So maybe a larger scale audience. That's not a bad thing. Okay, some heavy hitters. So 007 First Light is next up. Again, I've talked about this game a lot. If they can pull it off, this is their Hitman mixed with Uncharted. Like it's really that's an easy sell. It's an easy pitch. You know, you can kind of make to. You can say it in a trailer even, right? I mean, people are running with that. It looks at its best to be an Uncharted type game, which we've not gotten in many years. Not even just Uncharted, but that kind of ilk. You know. The frame rate needs to work. I think it needs to have the diversity and the gameplay freedom, you know, the ability to handle things in different ways that Hitman has had. And we've seen the groundwork. We've seen what you're able to do in in a map, in an area, like how you're able to convince people or get around people. Hitman, though, has really excelled, always has, always will, because of the variety. You know, all the different ways of handling a situation. It's so big, it's so important to it. So as long as 007 stays consistent with having enough variety in how you handle things, and then is a bit more action focused and maybe even has the set pieces of Uncharted every now and then, it can easily be one of the best games of the year. It's got to keep that frame rate under control, the tech, the performance, and then it's got to have that variety, and I think it'll be good. Lego Batman Legacy of the Dark Knight, another heavy hitter. Same kind of stuff. You know, if this game manages to land, we are looking at a return to DC. We're looking at a return to Lego. Like, I mean, Star Wars Skywalker Saga sold unbelievable. I think it was like the #1 selling Lego game. So maybe you don't have to improve much. I think there's a lot to improve from that game. Lego Batman just looks so good. Looks so good. Looks like the Arkham game that we've wanted for a while, or takes us back. All the different iterations of Batman. Like, there's actually, like, you can sum it up very shortly. It's just always looked very impressive. It's looked like the ultimate mix of the Arkham games along with Lego games, which I don't really know if you can do it any better than that, right? Just come out, be consistent, and I think you're going to be golden with that one. Halloween is next. So this is one that I'm very excited for, although I'm starting to get more and more. I've vocalized this in the past. The asymmetrical stuff, I'm always going to have an appreciation for. I'm always going to like. And I like it when you kind of take some risks and do it a little bit different. I am getting a little bit more and more tired of it. And I think for Halloween, it might be more of a safer thing. You know, like Killer Clowns is fine. It's solid. It's even fun. But, you know, Ghostbusters and Predator and Killer Clowns and all this stuff, I'm excited to don the mask and to do it, you know, in the way that they're going to be doing it in the game. IllFonic makes, like, rock-solid games. I just don't know if there's, like, an extra kind of ceiling to Halloween. You know, maybe, like, a safe, fine game. These games are pretty well supported. They last a while, and I can appreciate that. So I'm looking forward to it. It's just, you know, nowadays you give me, and maybe we can bring it up. You want to go horror back-to-back. Hellraiser. You want to bring in Hellraiser? Like, there's one that, you know, it does it a little bit differently and is going more like A Quiet Place, right? And is doing the first-person view, 5, 6, 7 hours, putting you in there. Hellraiser's going crazy, by the way, in terms of what that game is actually going to be. So I'm very excited for that one. To be honest, I mean, if I'm ranking them, I'd probably put Hellraiser higher just because it's something a little bit different. But there's my Hellraiser point as well. Okay, let's do, just really quickly, I think Tides of Annihilation is supposed to come out this year. Here's the deal. I'll keep this short because, number one, I don't really think this game is going to come out. I think it'll be delayed. But number two, if it does come out, I'm definitely excited. Like, the gameplay that we saw of that game does look really cool. I mentioned it when I broke down that gameplay, that just doing things that are a little bit different, you know, kind of having that mirror dimension on the ground and, like, the timing that you're able to take out the boss versus not. Really cool. Really cool stuff. The issue, the engine, you know, is something that you're going to have to optimize well. Otherwise, it's going to be a complete freaking mess. But I think they've already shown off enough that there is interest. It's just, okay, now keep building, right? Keep building, show us a couple more trailers, show us a couple more gameplay things as the year goes, and you'll be fine. Okay, Phantom Blade Zero is next up. There's one actually with a September release date locked in. A lot of these games don't have dates, so they're all subject to move technically. Phantom Blade looks so good. And I will say, okay, I mentioned, you know, the FromSoft and those type of games, the Neos and stuff, Mortal Shell, things like that. Those are games I struggle with. You know, you kind of pivot just a little bit to the left, and you get games like Phantom Blade, Black Myth Wukong, Stellar Blade. all games I love and all games that I actually have gone through. So I feel really good about Phantom Blade Zero because it's up my alley in that way. It resembles other games that pose a challenge to me, but I think it's got such a great aesthetic. It looks so good. It looks so fun. It's got the challenge, but it reminds me more of games that I can beat. And honestly, just that shift in my head of like, okay, I probably can't beat Neo, but I might be able to beat Phantom Blade, puts Phantom Blade higher, to someone like me. Okay, we still have quite the list left, but this is where I just wrote it down. GTA 6. Okay, not going to spend. GTA 6, if it comes out, it'll be a revolutionary game. I've made like 20 plus videos on it. I'm hoping for it. I'm hoping it releases this year. Of course it's going to release, God willing. Just do something new. That's what I've always driven home with this game. Show me that you're still the leaders. The story and characters are so important. I think that's going to be important to making it a well-rounded game, but just simply, the game can push the technology and push the alive world, make the world feel lived in. And whether that's like places you can go in, whether that's just how NPCs react or interact with each other, small things like that make the whole game to me. So those are some of the things I'm looking forward to with this game. And again, story and characters, I think, are going to kind of have to carry it beyond that. Okay, the Avatar Legends fighting game. This is one I wanted into that alpha. I think they had an alpha at the very end of the year. I was not invited. But the game, and by the way, I don't take that personally because I'm terrible. So if I did make it in, what would I do? I would just lose every round. How's that helping me and how's that helping them? So I don't take it personally. But no, the game looks, when you first see it, now I like the art style. I really like how it's drawn and how it looks. And I think you have a lot of people when it first was shown that thought it looked very like discounty. It still might. I think I saw some pretty positive feedback and reaction from that alpha, so it might surprise people, when it actually comes out. But hey, even if it is, if Invincible is kind of the big IP fighter and Avatar is kind of like this discount one, I think it could still be kind of cool. I'm in for Avatar games. You keep giving me Avatar games. We've really never had like an elite one. We might get one eventually, but and I don't think necessarily this would be it, but it's on my radar. Totally on my radar. Same things that I would say with Invincible, right? Like I don't know if I would get it. If it's $20-$30, I probably would just to lose a bunch, but and also to I guess support the Avatar brand, but we'll see. Okay, The Blood of Dawnwalker. This one, maybe an asterisk because I've always said I've been a big supporter. I've covered this game a lot. I feel like I'm one of the only people that's covering this game on social media. I really believe in it. I think it looks awesome. I like the time limit that's going on. I've defended it before in videos. Other people have not. That's okay. No, the game has such potential, such big potential. The one thing I would say is I'm not sold on it coming out this year. I'm not sold on it coming out this year. If I were to rank these, it would be an iffy one just because I think it's so easy to kind of just delay it till 2027, give it a little bit more time to cook. They've always shown the willingness that every time we see it, it looks improved from the time before. They really do seem to listen. They really do seem to improve. So, hey, you give the game 4 months, you might literally get a pretty big change. Whereas a lot of games, you're not really getting much if you delay it. This game, I think you would. So, if it comes out this year, I really think it's a top half, type game. I think it has a lot of potential. I just think it might be delayed. Okay, Control Resonant. Oh, I'm so happy to put this on the list. I will not put Max Payne here just because I feel, that game seemingly now is second. Control's first, Max Payne second. So it might be a first half of 2027 game, Max Payne's remakes. But Control, oh my God. I mean, Control 1 rocks. Remedy rocks. And this game is doing a hard 180. Now you're not playing as Jessie, although I think Jessie's going to be in it, and she'll probably play a more pivotal role than at least it seemed like in the first place. But the different kind of combat, the different kind of style that they're doing with this game, it's risky. I gotta say, this is a risky game, but I love that they're doing it. I love that it's coming from Remedy, where it's like you're not expecting this, and that's exactly why they should do it. You know what I mean? It's just, so I don't really even know what else really to say at this point in time. It looks great. Obviously, we should see more. We will see more, but I'm super in. Okay, next up is Danganronpa 2x2. Love the original Danganronpa 2. Love the first Danganronpa. Love Danganronpa 2 so much. I love this idea. Just do that again in a remake, remaster fashion, whatever it is. I think it's more remake. And then you're literally going to tell a brand new scenario. New kills, new people that are doing the killing, or may I say it's the same cast, but the order has now changed, and what happens to these characters has now changed. So what you've really done is you have you've made people fine, right? Because you're just remaking the original game. So you want the original redone, you got it. But what if we took all of that and we just changed up the order? Different people kill different people. They do it different ways. There's different trials. There's maybe a new ending now because maybe it doesn't whittle down to the same group. Oh my God, the potential. This is a top 10. This is a top 10. You might not think that, but I'm a huge Danganronpa fan. This is a top 10 most anticipated game to me. Okay, Directive 8020. More smaller compared to a lot of these heavy hitters I've said recently. I do believe in this game. There was a gameplay snippet shown maybe like 4, 5, 6 months ago, and it looks really good. They went back to the drawing board with this game. I believe I remember them reading, or I read it from them. It's got more of like an Alien Isolation vibe where like the movement has now changed. You're not so locked into like straight lines and choice-based stuff. That's still there, but you're also going to have moments where characters are looking for you. You have to hide. You have to move around. Like a little bit more gameplay, putting the game into your hands more than in the past. So I think there's more potential now because I think there's more ways of like scaring us. I think there's, tying more gameplay in, I think is not a bad thing. And then you kind of hope for a rebound with this. These games are so inconsistent. Some of them, story and characters, are fine. Some of them are pretty bad. The Devil in Me, I thought, was not very good story and characters. The casting of Frank Stone was all over the place. I actually thought it was pretty good until like the third act. I thought was horrifically bad. So there's such inconsistent, developers, and I kind of like that. I kind of like that you don't really know what you're getting. But this is on my list. Like I would be getting this game day one. I've always supported Supermassive. I've played all of their games, I guess going back to Until Dawn, and I probably always will, no matter what they do to me. Okay, this one, don't have too much to say, and it's kind of a risk even putting it here. The Duskbloods. Well, this is a From Software game. It's a Switch 2 exclusive. Those are two interesting things right there. It might not even come out this year, so won't spend too much time on it, but it's definitely on my radar. I would not promise that I would get it. It definitely looks interesting. It's got the DNA, From Soft. Aligning itself, putting its allegiance to Switch 2 is an interesting one. So we'll see how it does. Honestly, I'm excited to see kind of what happens and to see kind of if the community, rallies. Like I've said in the past, with these FromSoft type games, like they can only get me so much because I'm so bad at them. Okay, Fable. Fable is one that I am anticipating. I am looking forward to. I think that sky is the limit here, but there also is a lot of ways this can go bad. This is one of those high ceiling, low floor type games that can really go in either direction. It could also be delayed. I'm recording this, and you'll see this before the deep dive, so the deep dive can answer a lot of my questions. It can look really good. It can make me very scared about it. It could go in either way, right? Just like the game itself. So I'm looking forward to that, but I recorded this video before that happened. Fire Emblem Fortune's Weave is next up. So I haven't played many Fire Emblem games, but I did play Three Houses, and I loved it. And I know the series, like generally, I know how well respected it is. I know the gameplay style, characters, story and stuff. Just how good it is, how consistently really good it's been. So, this is a day one, I feel. I'm kind of waiting. I didn't get Metroid yet, but I want to. I didn't get Donkey Kong yet. The Switch 2 has really been my Mario Kart machine, and that's it. And that's not good. I don't feel great buying it for just one game. Need to add more games to it. I need to clear up that backlog that I need to buy. But Fire Emblem, day one. I really believe in that game. I'm so freaking excited for Fire Emblem. Okay, Forza Horizon 6. I've mentioned this before. It's on my radar. I'm not super into racing, but I just respect it. I think I know it's going to be big. I know it's going to be really good. It's just not fully up my alley. It's kind of why Game Pass exists, right? Is to give it a chance when you're probably not going to spend $60, $70 on it, but would I play it for 10, 20 hours on Game Pass? Heck yeah. So it kind of is the perfect game for me for a system like that. Okay, next up is the Gothic remake. Another one, I don't have too much to say. I never played the original Gothic, but it's always looked really good. This seems finally like the year that it's happening. I think it was maybe supposed to happen for a couple different years now, but no, it's always looked great. It looks not necessarily right up my alley, but it looks like a type of game that I'm willing to give it a go, and not really much more than that. Like I feel good about it, that it's going to be like a rock solid game. It's on my radar. It might not be like a day one thing, but it's totally, and at least this is the year, because I think in the past, like you've wanted it, but it doesn't seem realistic. I think this is the year that we get it. Another one that I really do hope is this year, but there seems to be, not a lot of confidence in that. Silent Hill Townfall. I've been on this game's corner for a while. I believe in it. I've believed in kind of all the Silent Hill games, and sometimes that's bit me quite hard. I want to believe in it. I'm for games that are like this, doing just something very, very different. And when you do something different, you can fail. You can also really, really succeed. So I hope that they pull it off, and here's to another year that we get a Silent Hill game. Very excited for that. Halo Campaign Evolved is next up. I mean, what can you say? Legendary original game. Remake, I think, is going to look really good. I think it should play really good. It's about keeping the heart and soul of the original. That's what it is. If you can do that, you got a slam dunk on your hands, because who's going to doubt Halo 1, right? But it's can you faithfully remake the game in 2026? Game Pass comes into play here. Halo comes into play. It being on PS5 day one. I mean, to get that on PS5, that'll be the first time we've gotten Gears on PS5 because of Reloaded. But to have a Halo game, have Halo 1 remake on a PS5, surreal. Very, very different. So I'm kind of excited just for that. Okay, the 2 Ubisoft games, let's do those back-to-back. Prince of Persia, Sands of Time remake. Can't wait. Can't freaking wait. Get more and more excited every single day. I just recently replayed the Sands of Time. It has some things that I need improved on it, and that's okay. And that's kind of what I'm looking for. It's a classic. I understand that. I played it back in the day. I've also played it now. It needs improvements, and I'm excited to see what Ubisoft. It might be crazy, but I really am. I'm excited to see what Ubisoft can do, and I hope it's really, really good. And then Assassin's Creed Black Flag's remake, same thing. With a couple changes. Black Flag, I think, is great. I've always obviously been drawn to the pirating, the pirate ship type stuff. This one is more iffy, though, because when we've heard about the remake, we've heard about sweeping changes, massive overhauls of systems of what you think about Assassin's Creed Black Flag that they're changing. And that might not fly with me. I'm not as drawn to the newer RPG stuff as I was to, like, the Black Flag era, which is, I think, kind of the best. That era has not always aged well. The fighting in 2 and Brotherhood and stuff is not very good. It has not aged well, but it got better. I think as we got to Black Flag and Unity and Syndicate, we got the best version of it. So I'm not really looking for that to change, and yet it probably will. So I'm looking forward to it. The pirate ships, and just, Pirates of the Caribbean is my favorite movie franchise of all time. I love the high seas. I love that kind of stuff. Boarding and just shooting cannons. And it really, I could play it for hours, endlessly. So I'm super in, but just, don't change the fabric of what that game is too much, and I feel they might. Okay, Marvel 1943 Rise of Hydra. This is a quickie because it's like, does it even come out? Does it even come out ever? Does it come out this year? The first one, it probably does come out. Does it come out this year? I think it's highly likely it does not. If it does, I'm going to be there, right? Like I've said it many times. We need to see gameplay. We need to see what you actually do in this game. But there's the trust from me with Amy Hennig. There's just the belief and the want to have a game that can do something like this. We need to be shown it. We need proof that this game exists outside of tech demo type stuff, which really up until this point, that's all we've gotten. We need to see it's a video game, and that's very important. Okay, Marvel Tokon Fighting Souls is next up. Another one, much like I've said with all the other fighting games, so this will be pretty short. It looks spectacular. I love the art style, love the characters, love the concept. We've done this once or twice in the past. It's so good. It looks so good. The reception on it, I feel, has been so good from those that have gotten to play it. Again, it's as simple as it looks phenomenal, and it looks like the best of the fighting games I've mentioned on my list. It's simply, will I enjoy losing every time? And is that worth $60? Me giving them the money, signing over my rights, knowing I'm going to lose every match. Is that worth it? Might not be, but it's definitely a game I'm very excited that we're getting it. Okay, Marvel's Wolverine. Oh, what can you say? No, I'm very happy it's finally coming out. It looks so good. They really had the, redemption is probably not even fair to them, because, but at the same time, they did it to themselves. They announced this game far too early, but when they came back hard, right? The game looks so freaking good. And while the leaks and rumors and stuff, well, mainly leaks, we kind of know the game if you saw those leaks, which I did not see many of them. So I am kind of in the dark, but what could they have changed? It's been many years. A lot of stuff could have changed. So I'm really looking forward to is this the same game that people think it's going to be? But also, it's just Insomniac is back. We haven't had a game from them in a little bit. And so it's going to kind of be cool just from that, just to kind of have that powerhouse, kind of studio coming back yet again. All right, Mixtape. Mixtape is a game I really thought was going to come out in 2025. I've just been a fan since it was first shown. I've said before, heavy reliance on music. Smashing Pumpkins are in the thing. They're my favorite band, so that's kind of an immediate thing. Game Pass, just a different kind of game. It might not work. It might be something that's kind of too out there, but maybe it's awesome. I think the reliance on kind of like the road trip, summer vibes, focusing on the music type stuff, I think it could work pretty easily. All right, final two, Onimusha, Way of the Sword. I've never played one of these games. That might be an issue, and I might have to fix that before this one comes out, but we can call it Capcom's year, right? Like Pragmata, Resident Evil, Onimusha. The game looks so freaky. And this is one that, even if I don't play the originals, I think I'm going to be okay, because it just looks so good. It looks so kind of fulfilling to put in those button prompts and to see like what that character's doing, with the sword. No, I love that stuff. I love that stuff. I love the vibe. I love how brutal and just how it feels, or at least how it looks like it feels, because we haven't actually got to touch it yet, right? And this is one that's kind of like I'm going off on a limb, right? Kind of supporting without really knowing too much. I kind of like doing that with some games, right? A lot of these games I know a lot about, other games I don't, and this would be like an example of I'll go with you, I'll see what you kind of got. And finally, if this game comes out, because I actually mentioned another game from them, Professor Layton and the New World of Steam. So this is the other level 5 game. If we get this before Deca Police, I don't really know what's going on, but Professor Layton rocks, and they rock. They just have a lot of struggles getting games out. That's pretty much it. Another Switch one, add to my Switch library. We need more. I need more of those, and that's really all there is to say. All right. That was 50. It might have been 51, whatever. It's a really long video. My throat feels okay, though, so I think I did pretty good. Let me know your list. Make sure, as always, you're subscribed to the channel, bell icon turned on, and I hope to see you all on the next one.